The chapter begins with a quick flashback to the moment Lloyd and his group first arrived in the orc village. The reunion between Arash and his father, Akush, is explosive and full of emotion, culminating in a hug so strong that it raises a cloud of dust and sand. Lloyd, witnessing this display of brute strength, is amazed and realizes the immense potential of these orcs as workers, already dreaming of exponential increases in productivity. Besides their strength, something else catches Lloyd's attention. When Arash presents the head of the Ant Queen as a trophy, the chieftain, proud of his son, declares a day of celebration, a grueling day of leg training. To Lloyd's shock, the orcs begin to do squats using ancient artifacts made of solid gold as weights, treasures of inestimable value. He realizes that the orcs, who have probably looted these objects, do not see their monetary value, but consider them simple fitness equipment. Then a grand plan is born. He will make a contract with the tribal chief to obtain both the orc workers and their treasures. The contract is simple. Lloyd will build a souk bingo, an ancient Korean ice warehouse, to solve the problem of preserving meat, and in return he will receive the gold treasures as payment and the orc labor. To Javier, who has never heard of such a thing, Lloyd explains that it is a building that can preserve ice without magic, a knowledge acquired at a student society. To build the souk bingo, they need granite, an extremely hard rock. Javier notes that the extraction will be difficult, and Lloyd admits that, in the absence of dynamite, they need an alternative. With a sly smile, he turns to Javier and says, "We have human dynamite." Javier sighs, realizing he's about to be used again. Lloyd recalls a crucial episode from the novel The Night of Blood and Iron. The siege of the Wall of Namran, a fortress city surrounded by an evil force field that drained the mana of the refugees from within. Javier, already a sword master with 4 mana circles, was helpless, but the desperation to save his people led him to create, without realizing it, a lethal technique. He kept 1 circle to protect his mana core, and the other 3 he collided, creating an explosion of pure energy. This technique, the Mana Blast, became one of his signature moves. Wearing a mask to hide his cunning expression, Lloyd proposes to Javier to try this technique to break granite. Although extremely suspicious, Javier is convinced by the prospect of evolving his mastery with the sword and agrees to try. To Lloyd's utter amazement, Javier succeeds on his first attempt. A powerful explosion shakes the rock, and from the cloud of dust emerges the figure of Javier, his clothes torn and his physique sculpted by the energy of the explosion. Lloyd, feigning shock, apologizes for the result, but Javier, grateful, admits that the idea was right and prepares to get to work. This success earns Lloyd plus 3 approval points from Javier and another 54 RP, bringing his total to 561. With Javier breaking the granite into pieces, the construction progresses at a dizzying pace. Padong carries the massive blocks, and the orcs, seeing the hard physical labor as the best training, voluntarily take over the carrying, far exceeding expectations. The only things missing are ice and insulating materials. Time passes, and Lloyd becomes worried. The 5-man team sent to retrieve the insulation has not returned, even though 3 weeks have passed, more than enough time for the round trip. Javier suggests 2 possibilities. Either they're lazy or something bad has happened to them. Lloyd, realizing the gravity of the situation, decides to go in search of them, when Javier tries to stop him, insisting that. The 2 set off on the trail of the missing team and find a bloodstained glove that Lloyd had made especially for his workers, along with straw used for insulation. Looking into the distance, Javier senses an unnatural disturbance in the flow of mana coming from the Progea Gorge. The name of the gorge triggers a terrifying memory in Lloyd's mind. He recalls an episode from the novel related to that place. With an expression of complete panic, he turns to Javier and shouts, "Javier, let's go. We have no time to waste. Our people could already be dead." The chapter ends with the 2 speeding towards the gorge, aware that they are heading towards a deadly danger that Lloyd knows all too well from the pages of the book.